Hey everybody, welcome to the Sideline Report. I'm Marvin Jackson. The Burgundy and Gold slipped to 3-7 last Sunday as they were defeated by Tampa 27-7. Not very good, as Steve Spurrier would say. Joining me this evening to discuss our Washington football woes are Redskins historian Mike Richman, LockerReport.com founder Barry Bad News Barnes, and host of Sports Talk, Alex Parker. Alex, Barry, and Mike, welcome.
Thanks, Marvin.
It's great to have you distinguished gentlemen here.
Great to be here.
And let's talk about this game. I mean, it was a very poor effort against one of the weaker teams in the NFL.
This was just a terrible effort by the Redskins. It's one of the all-time worst losses in the Snyder era. And just the worst part about this loss, the Redskins didn't come to play. Forget about the fact they fell to a 1-8 team. There were like 4 delay of game penalties, illegal motion. Leonard Hankerson lines up on the wrong side of the ball in one case. I know he had been out the whole season. Their heads weren't in the game, and somebody's got to take the fall for that. Is it the coach? Could be. They weren't motivated.
For me, it's always been the fundamentals. They lack fundamentals on the defense side of the ball. You cannot run with a Vincent Jackson down the sideline and trying to punch the ball out. He's carrying you basically another 10 yards, which happened in the first quarter. This team really has to stick to the fundamentals and don't try to be something that you're not on the offense side of the ball. You have one of the better running backs in the league. You have to feature him.
And he was running well, right?
He was running well, but they went away from it. It's all of a sudden they feel as though that they have to air the ball out to be competitive when the game was still in balance. They stick to the fundamentals, they should be fine.
This was coming off of a bye week. Yeah. They had extra time to prepare for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even in your lead-in when you mentioned, and they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-7. That doesn't even come out right.
No,
Who loses to Tampa?
It just sounds funny.
27-7. There was one part in the game, and I know you guys will agree, somehow the Redskins turned a 1st and goal on the 6 into a 4th and goal from the 29, and then only to miss the 47-yard field goal. When that happened, you sort of knew this is not their day. This is not their year. This may not be their decade at the rate we're going.
But you have to also look at Tampa, a defensive unit that's starting to get their pieces back. Gerald McCoy missed a good portion of the season. He's getting his legs underneath him. They picked up Isaiah Fry, the cornerback from the Bears, who they released a few weeks ago. He came there with Lovie Smith to help get the secondary on a good page to learn that system. So that team is starting to gel and been more competitive the last couple of weeks.
That was good for
Mike Evans just had a phenomenal day for Tampa Bay as well, more than 200 yards receiving. Yeah. What was Perry Riley doing on him? Who devised that scheme?
I don't know.
I mean, is that professional?
The other thing about the Redskins over really the last 15 or 20 years, Mike, your history will show you this. Has the team ever had more folks come out of sort of nowhere? And then we've seen it with other teams this year. We saw it at Minnesota. Rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
He might be good, but these folks make their names.
And Evans now is a Pro Bowler, right?
Evans is a high draft pick. He's going to be a great player. But you know who he really sort of cut his teeth against and made his name against? The Redskins. The quarterback for Tampa. A journeyman, a 35-year-old, But this man looks like, Johnny Unitas. When it's against the Burgundy and Gold, these folks play their best football. Something tells me the Burgundy and Gold have something to do with that.
And that was good for Lovie Smith too, right?
It was great for Lovie Smith.
He had a good year so far.
Right. Yeah.
But something about Haslett, I mean, he had a great game plan against the Cowboys, blitzed, he tricked the Cowboys, but it seems like in recent weeks he's gotten away from that. The Vikings game, they played a zone defense and went back in the zone. I just didn't understand that. I know what works against one team may not necessarily work against another team, but still.
Well, I know Emerson said in the locker room that they tried to blitz early, but they were blocking it out. So it didn't work. So he said they went away from it. That's what Emerson said.
But you have to also look when they play the Cowboys. You cannot judge divisional games compared to other competition to other contests because it's more emotion there. There's more familiarity that's there. So when you look at teams they play outside their own division, you can see why they, actually start to mess up or screw up or lack their fundamentals a lot more because they really don't know what to do when they go against another team because they're not familiar with them. When that Cowboys win was big, but at the same time, it was a divisional game. So divisional games, you really cannot use that as a barometer, especially in this division.
And this game was at FedEx Field.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
remind ourselves,
the crowd.
This was a home football game for the Redskins.
A lot of boo birds.
I just felt really bad for the fans. I mean, just sit through that and have to watch it. It was agonizing. I mean, as a diehard Redskins fan myself, it was agonizing. This is, like I said, one of the worst losses in the Snyder era. We're going back to late 50s, early 60s style Redskins football. For 23 straight games, they didn't win. There were plenty of ties. They didn't win a game during that stretch. It was really, really bad.
Was there anything good out there? I know Robinson, Keenan, made some big plays on defense, but that was probably it. And then Alfred was breaking some tackles like Jim Brown early in the game.
But they go away from Alfred because they feel as though, okay, we down by 3, we down by 6. It's in the middle of the third quarter. We got to do something to get a wow from the fans. You got to try to put something quickly, put some numbers on the board. You don't have to do that, especially when the game's in reach. There were a lot of contests this year with the Redskins. They were actually in the game, but they just blew it from just going away from their bread and butter with Alfred Morrison. Like I said, early in the season, coming into this season, Alfred Morrison was the second highest, came second in terms of yards under Adrian Peterson, averaging over 3,200 yards coming into this season. So you have a weapon there. They have to use him in order for them to be successful.
All right,
he's yet to run for 100 under Jay Gruden. It makes you wonder, Mike Shanahan, there's no doubt about his sort of expertise in the running game, but it makes you wonder, is Jay Gruden sort of too pass happy, and can Alfred Morris ever get back to being Alfred Morris from 2012/2013 with this new head coaching staff?
All right, well, let's take a break here, and when we return, we'll talk about, it'll be all about Robert. How is that? It's all about Robert.
Give about 3 hours?
Yeah. But that's how he likes it. So we'll be right back with more Sideline Report. Don't go away.